The following program is brought to you in part by the film Backdoor Channels, The Price of Peace.
Hi, I'm Leon Charney, and this is the Leon Charney Report. We're appearing with you today. It's Easter Sunday for our non-Jewish friends, and for our Jewish friends, it's the second day of Passover. We thought we'd go out in the street and find out how to bring you a very interesting and exciting program, what's happening in the Middle East, an update, to tell you, how you should celebrate this holiday with what kind of feelings. Well, you know what we did? We went into our library, and we found a story that we televised 3 years ago in Rerun, Israel, the story of the Laor family. And we were at their Seder with them. And what did we see there? We saw a microcosm of an Israeli family split totally in half. One side was on a left, and the other side was on a right. And the contentions that existed 3 years ago exist exactly the same way today. So nothing really has changed. It'll be interesting for you and me to look back and to see how this family celebrated their Passover 3 years ago. And what you will find, because we've peeked at it already, that nothing has changed. Something to think about on this glorious Sunday when Jew and Christian are celebrating one of their most holy holidays. We hope you enjoy. We're sitting here at the home of Mr. and Mrs. What's your husband's name?
Jack.
Jack Lore, L-O-R-E. Leah Lore, seventh generation Israeli, Rerun, Israel. Direct line coming to you direct from your Seder table. Your food was excellent, by the way, Leah.
Thank you very much.
We thank you.
Thank you.
How are you feeling tonight with all these people around you?
I feel happy, excited, as I feel the same every Seder night when all my family comes and my friends, and as I would say, very happy.
Contrast to me, you told me that you're a seventh generation Israeli and that your parents were born in Mea Shearim, and obviously you live there with your parents. Contrast that Seder. One thing I noticed tonight at your Seder is that women partook in reading of the Haggadah, which is unusual. Tell me what things were like in Mea Shearim 30 years ago.
Well, I am not coming from a very Orthodox family in Mea Shearim, but in our home, my father used to run the Seder by himself, and we have never had a part in singing or something because it was all done by him. He used to read all the Haggadah. And we are doing it different now. As you saw, everyone is having a part in the Haggadah by reading, and we only sang together. That's the only thing that we used to sing together. But the way of running the Seder night is quite a bit different than my father used to do.
Which is more comfortable for you? Which do you feel better with?
Well, I feel better in the way it's now, but I can't say it. It's not right for me saying it because I do miss my father's Seder, and I'll always miss it. It's not exactly the same, and it's more. We can't live the same as we were before. After all, I think 30 years has passed since then. And since I sat with my father at the Seder night, and he's missing for 12 years already, I haven't sat with him, I think, for more than 12 years, because my mother passed away 17 years ago. So since then, it's finished. And I miss it very much. Although I like the way we are running it here at home, I would still like to have him at the head of the table and running it the way we run it now. Then I would be happy.
Have you ever celebrated a Seder outside of Israel?
Sure.
Contrast that for me.
I've celebrated quite a few Seders in Australia, where I used to be a Jewish headmistress of day school in Perth, West Australia.
Mistress?
Jewish? No! A headmistress. No, in Perth there was a day school, a Jewish day school in It was called Carmel School, and we had about 200 boys and girls there. And I used to make a Seder demonstration for the children. We used to have it about a couple of days before. All the classes, all the school with the parents. It wasn't a kosher Seder, of course, because it was a demonstration. But after this, I was invited by the committee of the school. As you know, in Chutz La'aretz, we have 2 Seders.
Outside of Israel?
Outside of Israel, we have 2 Seders. So I had the benefit of having 2 Seders, and I was invited always somewhere else. It was not much, I would say, not a big difference that we're doing it here, but of course it was all done in English. As you saw, the Seder here wasn't done all in English, we do it in Hebrew. And the food must have been, the menu was different. I think that they used to talk a lot about the Haggadah. There were a lot of commentary in the Haggadah. I remember having about 6 or 7 Sdarim in Perth, and usually there were a lot of talking, explanations, which I suppose the reason was because it was done in English. So that's why they explained the children what's the meaning of the Haggadah. That here in Israel we don't do it because everybody understands the meaning.
Leah, can you be happy tonight when you know that rocks are being thrown in the West Bank in Gaza? There's a terrible political situation going on. There are about 8 people at your table that are members of the Israeli Defense Forces. Can you really be happy, or are you troubled?
I've got 3 children who were serving in the Israeli army, and I don't think that for one moment, when I was sitting now at the Seder, I was thinking about something else. All what I thought now was about a Seder night. I mean, I didn't have a chance to think what's outside now, because how can I when I'm with all the family together in the house? The moment the Seder started, I'm here. I'm not thinking what's going outside. I suppose tomorrow morning I'll be back again where I was. But now I can't.
Yesterday morning, where were you?
Yesterday morning, I was
mentally
cooking.
Were you thinking about the situation here,
yes,
or you weren't preoccupied?
Yes, I'm thinking all the time. I'm thinking all the time. But I don't mix up things. When I'm sitting here, I don't mix up things together. You know what you say in Hebrew, you don't mix a simcha and a simcha. So it's after all, a simcha is not what's happening there. But
it's a joyous occasion.
Yeah, but
you don't. Joyous occasions. So are you involved in your mental process? Is it involved with what's going on politically, or you leave that to the politicians?
He does worry me sometimes. I'm thinking about it, yes. He does worry me. There was a time I didn't, but lately I am worried about it.
Are you aware that the image of Israel, let's take the United States, has gone down immeasurably? I mean, the people think about Israelis and Israeli soldiers as being a brutal force of people. When you look around at your children, they don't look very brutal to me. And that's the picture the people in the United States are getting. You have some feeling about that?
Yes, I think it's a wrong, I'm sure that it's a wrong image about our boys. It's not true. I don't believe it. As you said, you can see here 3 of my children and 2 of my brothers and a lot of others. I don't think that any of these boys, when they are in the uniform, that they are brutal. I do think that we don't have enough good, how do you say it, good propaganda. We are lacking it, and that's why our image over there is not good. Which is, I think, it's a real, I would say, I don't know the right word in English now, pesha, crime, whatever you say for it. It's a crime to say that the Israeli soldiers are brutal. I wouldn't like to be in their situation, as I cannot be there because I'm not a soldier and I'm not there. But I still think that there is too much of bad publicity about Israel. I don't agree what's going on there. I think that somebody is doing us a bad publicity about it. I disagree.
Do you think that peace is possible with the Palestinians?
Yes, I think so.
How?
I don't know how. I'm not a politician. But every day I've got...
I heard every Israeli is a politician.
I'm not. I'm not a politician.
We made an exception here.
No, I'm not.
You're a cook.
I'm a cook, no. I'm a mother, I'm a working woman. But I think that there is a way because we have the will for it. And I'm sure wherever there is a will, there is a way. And I wonder who will be the one who will find the real way for it. There can't be, there's no way.
Would you be upset if Jerusalem were divided into an international city?
I would never agree for that in my life. I was born in that city. Why
willing to die for that?
To die for that? How can you ask me a question like this? I'm not a soldier, but if I would be a soldier, it was...
Are you willing to have your children die for that?
Which one woman, mother wants her children to die for no any reason? When nobody wants her child to die for anything. I mean, it's very hard for you asking me a question like this.
We interviewed an Arab woman who said that her son was killed and he's a martyr, and in a sense she's happy that it took place because he will bring forward a Palestinian state. What we're trying to do is get the emotions of a typical Israeli family and an Israeli woman.
It is... I don't know what the Arab, whoever the woman told you, whoever she was, how she could say a thing like this. I don't think it's a very hard thing to say that which mother would like to have her children die for any purpose?
No woman that I know of.
No, I don't think so. But you know what? If she thinks like this, it worries me. It does worry me. If any mother can say that she wants her son to be killed for anything, then it worries me. The first time I'm thinking about it very serious this minute, because I think that it's something to think about it. That means, what are these people really? What are they? I don't think there is something true in what they say that they want peace. I hoped it's only one woman who said it. I don't believe that every Arab woman will say like this. Every Arab mother.
Would you have any trouble trusting Palestinians or Arabs? I mean, you live with them. You're here for a long period of time, and you're an expert. You really know more than a lot of people. You grew up in Jerusalem when the city was divided. You've seen a lot of things happen in Jerusalem.
I grew up in Jerusalem before the independent war.
Right.
I was about 8 years when the war started. So I remember the Arabs before the independent war.
In 1948, you were about 11, 12 years old?
No, I was less. I was 10 years old.
And you remember when Jerusalem was...
Exactly the night even. I remember the night when the city fell. I remember it.
You remember the night it was conquered?
Yes, I remember every bit of it. I remember the Friday night when the attempt to take the walls fall down, and the whole night was full of bombs, and we woke up in the morning and I was sure that none of the buildings were left and we were all destroyed, and I had a feeling that I'm the only one who survived. When I got up in the morning and I saw that all the neighbors are alive, I told my mother, how can it be after a night like this? But it happened. I was living very close to the borderline. Mea Shearim was very close.
I understand. What is your feeling about the West Bank and Judea and Samaria? Would you trade land for peace?
I wouldn't trade any land for peace, but I would like to have peace. I think that the whole trouble is that the Arabs don't realize that they have a lot of places where to go and we don't have, and this is I think that's the whole point. They've never realized that nobody have been putting it in their heads that we have one little country, Israel, and they've got more than 7 countries. So I don't know why they can't let us live in peace. And we don't. Those who want to live here, they can live here. But I wouldn't give away my land. I wouldn't give. It's our land. I'm sure that every piece of it, which we are there, is ours. Even more than that. Well, after all, I'm the 7th generation here, and how can I feel different about it?
Has your mood changed in the last 5 minutes when I ask you these questions? Has your mood changed since I asked you those questions?
It changed because I've been moving away from the things about this festival and moved away to politics. Of course it moved. 10 minutes ago I wasn't thinking about it, only when you started to ask me. But before
when you do think about it, do you feel a certain, I wouldn't call it depression, but like it's unresolvable, or you feel it's resolvable?
I'm sure it is. It is. No, I won't think like this. I can't feel like this. If I'll feel like this, then it will be very bad. But I don't feel like this. We continue working here. We continue laughing and celebrating. And I live in my home. This is my city, my country, my home, and I don't even think about being depressed about it.
Leah, do you believe in the Palestinians or the Arabs? Do you trust, rather, that they really want peace?
I'm not so sure about it. I'm not so sure that they really want peace. I think that whatever they like, I think that what's happening is that it's more a propaganda than sincere thoughts what they think. I don't believe that it's really all peace what they want. If they would like to want peace, they would have compromised. And they don't compromise. And they've got a choice what to do. We don't have a choice. We don't have a choice. And the reason that we will stay here forever is because we know that this is our place. We'll continue sitting here, and I don't believe that will be a day that somebody will take away the people from this country. It's a fact that we've been here for thousands of years, and I believe that we'll continue being here for as long as there will be a Jewish people in the world, and they'll come to Israel. This is our home. I don't see any other place that we can live. If people were, you know what, I don't have to tell you about the Holocaust. Wherever Jewish people were, so Hitler came and that sent us away. Where did he send us? Go to Palestine, he said. We're coming to Palestine. We can't be, Palestine is Israel. And in Israel, we're having the Arabs. So somewhere there should be a solution for all these things. I know there is a lot of Jews and millions of Jews all around the world. But this is the home of the Jewish people.
What do you say to people like Woody Allen and a bunch of Americans who have come out asking Shamir very strongly, I don't know if you've heard about it, to make a direct talk with Arafat and to establish a Palestinian state?
Never, I wouldn't agree with this. I would never agree with a thing like this. A Palestinian country, a Palestinian state in this country, that's the end of Israel. This will bring the end of this country. For sure. Well, I'm not a politician again, but the way I feel, this will be the end of Israel. I don't trust them.
In modern Middle East history, only one peace treaty has stood the test of time, the 1978 Camp David Accord. In the new documentary film, Backdoor Channels, The Price of Peace, learn the true story behind the greatest diplomatic achievement of our time and its lessons for the future.
The price of peace is very high. To have this courageous man and my close friend killed.
Winner of the Telly Award for Best Cultural Program. Now available at select stores including Barnes & Noble and online at Amazon.com. Now get the book the hit movie was based on, Leon Charney's Backdoor Channels. Learn about the Backdoor Channel negotiations that led to the historic 1978 Israeli-Egyptian peace treaty. Become a witness to history and order Backdoor Channels online at Amazon or Barnes & Noble. Also available at all other retailers and booksellers. Or download the audiobook at iTunes or Audible.com. Relive history. Order Backdoor Channels. Leon Charney sets out to discover the true meaning of the Kaddish, the Jewish custom of reciting a prayer to commemorate the death of a close relative. Join Charney as he finds out the history of the Kaddish and how it has evolved. Reviewed as a refreshing walk through Jewish history and a book that deserves to be read by both Jews and non-Jews, The Mystery of the Kaddish is now available online at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all other retailers and booksellers. Or download the audiobook at Audible.com or on iTunes. Discover the mystery of the Kaddish. Get best-selling author Leon Charney's latest book, The Battle of the Two Talmuds. Join Charney as he explores years of Jewish history to find out why and how Talmudic scholars and rabbis abandoned the Holy Land for the lands of the diaspora. Learn about the power struggles behind the creation of the Jerusalem and Babylonian Talmuds. It's a book critics call engaging and enlightening. A book which will be of interest to people of every faith. Now available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble, or download the audiobook of The Battle of the Two Talmuds at iTunes or Audible.com.
We're sitting with Tuvit Laura, the daughter of your mommy's name? Leah Laura, who just gave us her opinions about the political situation in Israel and how she feels tonight, being surrounded by her family, her friends, and feeling very happy. And I asked her the question what her thoughts were concerning the political situation and the intifada that is going on. And she gave what I would classify as basically right-wing answers. Do you feel the same?
No, I'm much more left-wing than she is. I'm left.
Do you think a country should trade land for peace?
Yes, anything to stop what's going on. I mean anything, I mean land, anything like not lives and definitely not what's going on now.
Do you ever discuss this with your mother?
No, we don't have any political discussions in this house. And if they do come up once in a while, then I'd rather just shut up. I don't make a debate out of it because I don't think she even knows what I vote. I never make a point of it here because if I will, there'll be a lot of shouting. So I kind of just keep it to myself. That's where I am. I have friends like that, and that's enough. I don't make a deal out of it in this house. It's a different situation.
Do you have any objection to a Palestinian state?
No.
So your basic opinion is that as long as you save lives and you can live in harmony and live in harmony on both sides, you'll accept most anything. Do you trust your political leaders?
Not too much, but I have to trust them to a certain point when I vote for them. Somebody has to do something.
Tuvi, where do you think this country's headed right now, as of tonight?
Balagan.
Explain that in English. We got people in Burma and Borneo watching this show, and they're not all Jewish.
When I say balagan, I mean a big, not chaos, but a lot of what's starting up in the Intifada will probably not get easier or more simple. It's going to get pretty complicated unless some real big differences occur. It's not going to continue just the way it is. It's going to get worse.
Do you get depressed when you think about it?
Not depressed. I don't think it's right, but I don't think I carried on my everyday life all the time enough to get myself depressed. I have other things to get depressed about in this country.
Such as?
Economics.
Don't you think they're interrelated?
Oh, I'm sure they are, but they affect my life much quicker and more immediate than what's...
So you're worried about first your immediate problems, which is natural,
yes,
and which are interconnected with the political problems here.
I don't think the right attention is being put into...
Your mother told me that she used to travel to Shomron to do some kind of cooking for Tenuva, and she can't go there now because they're throwing stones. Are you aware of that?
Am I aware of it?
Yeah.
I'm aware of it.
How that's affecting the economics of the family?
I don't think so. I think she's not doing that for other reasons.
Do you think the United States should be doing anything now to help with?
I never think that someone from the outside has to do something for us. I think we have to do for ourselves, and it's easy to say, why doesn't somebody else do for us? Well, I don't think the United States is responsible for Israel. I think Israel is, first of all, responsible for Israel.
You're 8th generation Israeli, your mother 9th generation Israeli. What's your reaction to the ultra-religious zealots types like Mayor Kahane, who came here from America and trying to tell you what's good for this land? How do you respond to that?
Very negatively. They're here because they also have a word and they can state anything they want in a democracy, but I have absolutely no empathy for what they're doing, or sympathy, not at all.
Did you serve in the army?
No, I was married.
Do you have an opinion in terms of, when you speak amongst your friends, is the Intifada a topic of discussion?
My friends, yes. I have one friend who refused to do Miluim now, and the main subject between me and these friends are when will he get out of jail, because he's not going to do his Miluim because of the situation in the Shtachim, in the territories. And they're very close friends of mine, and that's a topic that we are involved in.
Do you think it's courageous or cowardice not to serve in the army with the Intifada going on?
Doing the reserve, Miluim is reserve? Yes, doing reserve not to serve is... I don't know if it's courageous, but it's a choice someone makes where he doesn't want to be in a position where he's going to shoot at children or throw back something at someone. He'd rather be in jail. I don't think the jail part is nice either, but that's his choice. He'd rather spend the time in jail than in military jail than go out and be put in a situation that he doesn't want to be put into. He doesn't believe it's the right way. I think that's the only choice a person like that would have if he doesn't believe in the way things are happening now. But there aren't that many people doing that because it's not such a nice thing to go through.
Do you have any friends who think more rightist than you do?
Very few, and really very few. I usually don't get involved in arguments and debates with people who are right-wing. I just don't see why I have to convince them in anything. We're in opposite parts of the scale. It's an attitude and an opinion. I don't believe in convincing someone out of his opinion.
You're the Israeli lawyers that you cannot speak directly to a Palestinian, but if the Palestinian was sitting here, I could talk to the Palestinian could talk to you. You think that's a little fallacious?
Wait, I didn't understand that. What's the problem with me speaking with the Palestinian?
I think it's against the law in Israel.
Because it's against the law, okay.
But indirectly, the three of you could be in a room. Columbia University had a seminar. We interviewed a poet and an author named Yoram Kanyuk. He's a very good writer, very pro-Palestinian, former Palmachnik, and he's very, very much for talking and having dialogue with the Palestinians. But he was afraid to do it directly because he'd be arrested. Do you think that's a fallacious law? Do you think it's silly?
I don't know if it's silly. It has its reasons. I don't think it's right. But
what do you think the reasons are?
I suppose some people at some stage are scared to confront a reality that's not that difficult to confront because they don't know what's going to happen. So all kinds of reasons can come up, like security and anything you can think of can come up when there's a situation of unknowing what would happen, like there's some fear. I think it might just be fear.
Do you find anything wrong with direct negotiations with Arafat?
No, it's good to have an intermediate, but I don't find anything wrong with it.
So you'd not be opposed if the political leaders said, okay, tomorrow we meet Arafat, or we invite him to Jerusalem?
I don't like causing shocks. It might be too big of a shock in the country, but I myself wouldn't mind it.
You think your friends would be shocked?
My family would.
That we learned tonight. How about your friends?
No. Some of them won't, and some of them might, but not drastically. They wouldn't mind it that much.
You remember Camp David?
Yeah, I was around then.
You have any feelings about it? Let's see, that's 10 years ago. You were 19. It's the time you got married instead of going to the army, so you remember it very dearly. Did you believe that the Egyptians would stay peaceful with Israel for 10 years?
Then, did I believe?
Yes.
I think I was more skeptic then, but after 10 years I can say that I believe it can work out if both sides continue to try and work it out. It's not a one-time ordeal. It's a beginning of a procedure, a beginning of a different way of living and looking at things. How you have to work on it every day again and again. If you take it for granted, then you just may as well lose it. You can lose it any day.
You think if Arafat took a shave, you'd get peace earlier?
She changed his hairstyle.
In modern Middle East history, only one peace treaty has stood the test of time, the 1978 Camp David Accord. In the new documentary film, Backdoor Channels, The Price of Peace, learn the true story behind the greatest diplomatic achievement of our time and its lessons for the future.
The price of peace is very high to have this courageous man and my close friend killed.
Winner of the Telly Award for Best Cultural Program. Now available at select stores including Barnes & Noble and online at Amazon.com. Now get the book the hit movie was based on, Leon Charney's Backdoor Channels. Learn about the Backdoor Channel negotiations that led to the historic 1978 Israeli-Egyptian peace treaty. Become a witness to history and order Backdoor Channels online at Amazon or Barnes & Noble. Also available at all other retailers and booksellers. Or download the audiobook at iTunes or Audible.com. Relive history. Order Backdoor Channels. Leon Charney sets out to discover the true meaning of the Kaddish, the Jewish custom of reciting a prayer to commemorate the death of a close relative. Join Charney as he finds out the history of the Kaddish and how it has evolved. Reviewed as a refreshing walk through Jewish history and a book that deserves to be read by both Jews and non-Jews, The Mystery of the Kaddish is now available online at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all other retailers and booksellers. Or download the audiobook at Audible.com or on iTunes. Discover the mystery of the Kaddish. Get best-selling author Leon Charney's latest book, The Battle of the Two Talmuds. Join Charney as he explores years of Jewish history to find out why and how Talmudic scholars and rabbis abandoned the Holy Land for the lands of the diaspora. Learn about the power struggles behind the creation of the Jerusalem and Babylonian Talmuds. It's a book critics call engaging and enlightening, a book which will be of interest to people of every faith. Now available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble, or download the audiobook of The Battle of the Two Talmuds at iTunes or audible.com.
Part 3 of the law story, Ofer Law. We had Leah Law, your mother, Tuvit, your sister, now you.
The smallest one.
The smallest one. We're basically on to politics because we've all had a grand dinner here. We're really happy with the hospitality your parents afforded us. It's been a pleasure hearing you sing. And we have a little discrepancy between your mother and your sister about the political situation today. Your mother seems to think that there should be no Palestinian state, and basically that compromise with the Arabs in any way which gives land for peace is something that she does not think is desirable. Your sister takes the position that anything that stops bloodshed is really something that should be favored by any Israeli, anything to stop the blood. Do you have any feelings about this?
I'll tell you, I'm not looking for bloodshed. We're not looking for war. I was in the army for 4.5 years.
What did you do in the army?
I was in the Air Force. And I have a lot of friends with me. I know we're in Lebanon, which are now in Yehuda and Shomron. And all what's happening...
Did you believe in the Lebanese war?
The Lebanese war had a very, very important purpose. All of the north of Israel, the Galilee, was all the time blasted with bombs. We had a lot of problems from Lebanon, and we just had to stop it somehow. The only way to stop it was to take Arabs north from us away so they could not get to us. And there was a problem, and I agree that maybe we went inside a little bit too much. Maybe we made a few mistakes, but I don't think any other state would have known how to act in such a situation, which was very, very awkward. And the situation today is Lebanon is still in war. Okay, it's Syria, it's Christians, there's a big problem there. And in our side, there's the biggest problem with the Palestinians who want to get our country. They're not fighting on their houses. They have their own houses, they have where to live, and they got from Israel whatever they wanted. I mean, they're getting all the rights that a person could get from Israel. But what they're screaming all the time, what they want all the time, is they want to get back Jerusalem, they want to get to Tel Aviv, they want to get to Haifa, they want everything. It's not that they want peace in their side. And talking about another country inside Israel is it's absurd, it's impossible, because the land which they are sitting in, and we did not make any problems, we let them live there. This land that they're sitting in is ours, and we were willing to sit with them together in peace. But when they attack us, they attack innocent people, mothers, children with bombs and fire and everything. It's just terrible. People are dying all day, every day, sorry, people are dying. And for no reason this should not have happened at all. Because if they have a problem, they can always talk about it. We're always willing to talk. We're not looking for war with them. Any war which started with Arab countries, also till today, Israel never caused them. And the Lebanon war was not a war. It was a defense, something which Israel had to do in order to defend herself.
Many military leaders disagree with you on Lebanon. They say that it's the first invasionary war of the Israeli Defense Forces, which goes contra to what the Israeli Defense Forces stand for. They're basically a defense force, and this was a preemptive war by the Israeli army. This is military leaders say this. Have you not heard that?
Look, there are a lot of different people. Everyone has his own right to say what he thinks. Right. Okay. Yeah. I think you just heard what I think. I think this was something that Israel had to do in defense. We had no other way to do it. And today, after about 6 years since the Lebanon war started, we are in a much better situation in the north than we were all the years before that. You don't hear of houses being blown off from bombs anymore. Nothing. The north is clean.
Would you say your opinion is that of most of your friends? I mean, the group that you, let's say, hang out with, they think your way?
Most of them do.
Yeah, they do.
90% of them do.
So, Ofer, what do you think is the solution for the Intifada?
The way the Intifada is now, it's very hard to point on a solution. I don't think even Prime Minister Shamir found he has a lot of ideas. There are a lot of ideas of what can we do, and a proper solution I can't see. But I would say a solution which maybe I could offer, which might sound a little bit, how do I say, not everyone would accept with me, but around Israel there are 22 Arab countries. 22 Arab countries, which each country is maybe twice, 3 times, or 4 times bigger than Israel. This place for all of them, this place for millions others. But they don't want to be in Yehuda and Shomron. They want to be in Israel. They want to live where we live. And you hear it all the time. I mean, maybe the television doesn't cover everything. And they don't translate what the Arabs are thinking all the time when they're doing all what they're doing there. But they're singing that they want to kill us. This is what they're singing. This is what they want. They want Israel. All of it. And if they will have their own country in the middle, it's a disaster of Israel.
So you don't see any compromise in terms of...
Not this way. Not this way. The way they're doing it is not the way. Not this way.
And you, as a citizen of Israel, would be not content, but it would be satisfactory for you to continue this present policy?
I'm not content. I'm not pleased with what's happening now. I'm not pleased with the people getting killed. I'm not pleased with Arabs getting killed. I'm not pleased with the Israelis getting killed. No one should get killed. This shouldn't have happened this way. But we didn't start with killing. No way.
Are you aware that the United States, well, let's say the public opinion in the United States of Israel has greatly diminished since the Intifada, and that many American people think that the Palestinians should have a homeland?
Okay, I accept they should have a homeland. But why in Israel? Why in Israel? They are Arabs. They have 22 different countries. Why do they need to be in Israel? We have only one country. And not all of the Jews are in Israel. There's hardly enough place also for us. So they also want to be in Israel?
Is this an Arab bug or a Jewish bug? God knows. Next year, where will Israel be?
It's very hard to say today where we will be next year. I can't give you an answer. I hope we'll be in a better situation than today. Maybe get into peace with other Arab countries. We did it with Egypt. It's a little bit cold, the relationship between Israel to Egypt. But we will all like to get to peace with Arab countries. We're not looking for war with any one of them. We don't want war with them.
It is any way for you to see a political solution without sitting down and talking to them? How do you achieve it?
It matters to who you talk. You cannot talk to Yasser Arafat. He's a murderer. You cannot talk to him. No way. He should be in jail. A person like that.
People say that Shamir and Begin were also terrorists.
They were not terrorists. This country is our country, and they fought to get this country, which is known to be our country for thousands of years. They were not terrorists, no way. They fought on this country to get this country, and today we got our country back.
Did you consider Sadat a murderer?
It's hard to judge Sadat. No, I wouldn't judge him as a murderer. No. No way. You know, he went forward towards Israel. He was the only Arab leader who came to do peace with us, and we have now quiet for over 10 years with the Egypt border.
You think the Camp David was a historic achievement for Israel?
Certainly, for Israel and for Arab countries, we should also learn from this and try and continue also with the peace.
Okay, Ofer. Thank you.
In modern Middle East history, only one peace treaty has stood the test of time, the 1978 Camp David Accord. In the new documentary film, Backdoor Channels, The Price of Peace, learn the true story behind the greatest diplomatic achievement of our time and its lessons for the future.
The price of peace is very high. To have this courageous man and my close friend killed.
Winner of the Telly Award for Best Cultural Program. Now available at select stores including Barnes & Noble and online at Amazon.com. Now get the book the hit movie was based on, Leon Charney's Backdoor Channels. Learn about the backdoor channel negotiations that led to the historic 1978 Israeli-Egyptian peace treaty. Become a witness to history and order Backdoor Channels online at Amazon or Barnes & Noble. Also available at all other retailers and booksellers. Or download the audiobook at iTunes or Audible.com. Relive history. Order Backdoor Channels. Leon Charney sets out to discover the true meaning of the Kaddish, the Jewish custom of reciting a prayer to commemorate the death of a close relative. Join Charney as he finds out the history of the Kaddish and how it has evolved. Reviewed as a refreshing walk through Jewish history and a book that deserves to be read by both Jews and non-Jews, The Mystery of the Kaddish is now available online at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all other retailers and booksellers. Or download the audiobook at Audible.com or on iTunes. Discover the mystery of the Kaddish. Get best-selling author Leon Charney's latest book, The Battle of the Two Talmuds. Join Charney as he explores years of Jewish history to find out why and how Talmudic scholars and rabbis abandoned the Holy Land for the lands of the diaspora. Learn about the power struggles behind the creation of the Jerusalem and Babylonian Talmuds. It's a book critics call engaging and enlightening. A book which will be of interest to people of every faith. Now available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble, or download the audiobook of The Battle of the Two Talmuds at iTunes or Audible.com.
Mati-Law, the eldest of the Law children. This is fascinating. It's like BBC did a program called Bar Mitzvah one time, and they interviewed the whole family. We're into a political discussion with the members of your family. Your mother seems to take sort of a right wing, your sister's sort of a left wing. Your brother is somewhere between the right and the left, and I want to get your opinion. Should there be a Palestinian state?
Could you further on that question? Or
What's that?
could you further the question, or you mean just definitely a Palestinian state?
Palestinian state.
Well, I would say definitely not in Israel.
In Poland?
Not in Poland, but there's a lot of air around, a lot of Arab states, and there's a lot of roots, which are the only roots, which are our roots, the children of Israel. As it's been, it's a fact. I consider it as a fact, and there's a legal fact, if you'd call it on your side.
Do you think that the Intifada can continue the way it is without affecting the economic growth of this country and the emigration from this country and what it's doing to the youth of the country?
Well, I could even, I don't want to prophetize, but let's consider forward. I believe both sides, I mean, we know everybody suffered casualties, and I mean, no one likes casualties on any side. I mean, we cry the blood of any Arab also that dies. There's no reason that anybody should have died in this. But I think that the answer will be, I mean, I can't wait to think of what the political solution is. Also, I trust the political leaders, and I trust the military itself, the IDF, who are holding the place. I do believe that there is going to be a crowd, I mean, a realization from the Arab side saying enough. They've had enough, because actually they've got it out of control themselves, and the only way to control is to finish it and not to make it worse than it is. It really lost hand at the beginning. I mean, there was a too free hand, and it's very, very easy to let it go down and fall down like a snowball in a way, but it got out of hand, and that's why we got where we are today. I do believe they're going to feel that they've lost too much also, and it's interrupting their education and the complete continuation of everybody's side, the Israeli country, people, education, politics, economics, and just as severe on the other side.
Did you serve in the Israeli army?
I served in the Air Force quite a few years.
Your brother has the opinion that the war in Lebanon was a very vital war, very important. Do you share the same opinion?
Well, I don't know why it was called a war, because it was initially, and it was a defense act, because there was fright in the air from the children up to, was real tough on life. You couldn't continue life in any way up in the north. But when the situation was, we were really under the ends of guns and cannons from Arab countries around. I mean, in the north mainly, which inhabited Palestinian guerrillas, which were, all they wanted to was to just get us out of place, threaten us, massacre as much, and just to cause us the biggest instability there could be.
Many people think that that war was a mistake, that it basically touched the fabric of Israel, and that it changed the fabric of Israel, especially amongst the young people. First time in Israeli history that soldiers refused to perform or execute orders in this war. There's a famous case of a colonel who refused to lead his battalion. Do you think that had any effect on Israel?
Well, I think it's not an exception of me being more connected to the country than others, because I know many people like me, and even though not being so many generations in the country, when you look at it, I can't say that people don't have different minds. I mean, people have different ways of looking at it, or you say that it caused people to cause splitting.
I think it broke the moral fabric of the country. This is what commentators have said. I'm not saying it's my opinion, but I've heard many people say that after the Lebanese war, the context of Israel changed.
I think more that there's more, the way the media's covered it caused sometimes different or a new approach or new idea to get a bigger echo than it really is, which is a thing, as you would know from media, when it is not covered right. And I feel it because that's the usually thing I see when things are not seen from the right way, at least through not enough points or public relationally, which our country really needs. I mean, that's what's happy about saying a word out in the air.
So do you have an opinion of how the killing should be stopped? How can this thing...
What killing? I mean,
the Intifada.
The Intifada. Well, I think I mentioned that. I mentioned that I believe it's going to stop. It's just going to...
By attrition? By itself?
It is going to stop just by self-evaluation of what is going on. Too much blood has been shed.
But that's contrary to a lot of military thinking today. You know, most people in the world think that the Intifada is going to continue, that it's self-perpetuating, that it really started because of the refugees who now grew up in camps and they really don't have a homeland, that they've been educated in the fact that this part of Israel or West Bank and Judea and Samaria are... So why do you think that it's going to stop?
I still believe that their influence, I mean, even if you're speaking about the youngsters, which do a lot of corruption to themselves. I mean, many young kids, many young Arabs are killed also. They're not in control, but they can be very easily influenced, having nothing else to do. And they go by what the leaders and what the parents say. And the minute there is a different call out from up top, it's very, especially when there is let's call it a religion also background to it. I mean, calling out for the Muslim or the religion side of it. When up top things are pulled out different, immediately it changes. Although what they've learned, they'll stop because they know that they don't like their friends getting killed.
One question: you trust your political leaders. If Mr. Shamir wakes up tomorrow morning and invites Mr. Arafat to Jerusalem, would you have any feelings about that?
I can't see it in reality. Calling Arafat would be too much of a... no, it's more of a... It would be like something within like a shock. It's a non-existable Shamir calling Arafat here.
All right, there are very strong rumors in the United States that the PLO is indirectly negotiating with Israel at this moment through the United States. Are you aware of that?
At what level?
What's that?
What do you call it? What level?
The United States talks to the PLO now. I mean, that's part of the policy that was changed on December 24th. And Shamir goes to Washington. He speaks to Bush and Baker. Baker then convey that to Tunisia. So you're basically having indirect talks now.
There could be such talks. I mean,
I think Shimon Peres said it, by the way, last week. There are indirect talks going on.
Indirect could be. I mean, they can't level up. It's too much, even too soon to anybody to think of any kind of leadership of PLO being in Israel in direct calls, direct talks. It's.
Do you understand?
It wouldn't be acceptable.
Do you understand the concept of autonomy? Do you know the autonomy? You understand the concept?
The self-ruling of the Arab.
Yeah. You understand what it is?
In a way,
It's giving civil rights to Arabs. It's basically giving them a flag, a currency, post office, local police, local militia.
I think it's more of a chaos again, because they're getting everything there is today. I don't know any country that would have gone through wars and leaving its inhabitants in its country, getting everything what everyone else gets, almost to the extreme of having all the rights and so on, and also some measurements of better rights than the other citizens. And I don't see any reason. Let's call it tax things. They're paying less tax.
Are you telling me
I don't see the way.
You tell me that Arabs have right of self-determination today?
Not self-determination. I don't see them having the need to have a flag and a post and all of those things, because they're actually using all the facilities, services and benefits that any other citizen could use in the country. There is no reason to bring that. It's a small country. It's working perfectly, and they know how to use it perfectly, and they're enjoying it.
So you would be against autonomy, even? Is that correct?
I don't see any reason for the flag or for their self-ruling.
Okay, thank you. The Law family will anxiously wait to see what the poll will bring. Good night, happy Passover. See you next week.